What if I told you that you're wasting 80% of your time on social media? Yeah, it's kind of annoying when you think about it. What I would love for you to do in this moment right now is consider your ROI on all of the marketing activities that you're doing, particularly when it does come to social media. Because here's the thing, most people who are doing social media, particularly if you are a course creator, a coach, a creative entrepreneur, if you're running an online business, in most cases, you're probably doing the majority of your marketing on social media. Totally normal. That's what we're taught. That's how most of us get started. But have you actually sat down and looked at your numbers and really looked at your ROI? Is the effort that you're putting into your social media actually resulting in the meaningful results that you're looking for? And what I mean by meaningful results are you getting leads? Are you getting customers? Because at the end of the day, if you're not making money in your business, then you don't have a business. So in this video, I really want to walk you through why social media is failing most creative entrepreneurs in 2025 and then what you can do differently. Let's talk about the social media trap. Because here's the thing, there are some very real reasons why social media isn't working for you in your creative business right now. The first one, and probably the one that you've heard the most and experienced the most, is algorithm changes. Now, we can't know what the algorithm is doing at any point in time. Now, of course, you can combat the algorithm changes with paid advertising, but even the paid advertising is having diminishing effect. Social media is more of a nurturing strategy than it is anything else, right? We don't actually end up selling on social media. More often than not, the sale happens somewhere else in your customer's journey, somewhere else. So they might initially see you on social media, but then they may get to experience you in multiple different ways. And that's the thing to just keep in mind in the back of your head as we're talking through the rest of this video. So, on top of having to deal with algorithms, there's also just the declining organic reach of social media. Now, to be clear, I want to clarify what I determine as social media and generally what most people would say are social media platforms. So, I'm specifically talking about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call them. Those are social media platforms. What I'm not talking about is YouTube, Pinterest, any of those platforms where there's a lot more search based use than there is on the social side of things. Then we can understand why there is declining organic reach with the standard social media platforms. And that's just because they aren't searchable outside of those platforms. Yes, you can go in and type in a search or a hashtag, but the majority of your audience aren't doing that because that's not how most people use social media. Most people jump on social media to interact with their friends and family first and foremost, and they're scrolling. So they're not searching. They don't immediately go, I need help with this thing. Let me jump on Facebook to go and search for that. The majority of people are using a search engine, and in 2025, more people are using AI tools to do the search for them. So, when you think about it from that perspective, it's really important to start thinking about how you can ensure that you're being discovered and not putting all your eggs into social media. And then, of course, we've already talked about the ROI, time investment versus return. You have to look at your own numbers because at the end of the day, those are the numbers that are most important. This is why I essentially decided to remove myself from social media from a business perspective. And even if we're honest here, from a personal perspective, I don't really use social media. I'm not posting daily. I just don't do it. I just don't want to be on those platforms. So you've got to think about your own audience. At the end of the day, you have to make that decision. But I left social media in 2021, closed my private Facebook community, all of those things, because I was frustrated as a user in the experience. And it was very obvious that the people who wanted to actually connect with me were just not seeing anything I was doing. So it's like you're putting all this effort into something and literally getting zero results. And so for me, I was just like, okay, I want to, one, create a community where I have a much higher chance of actually getting in front of someone. And two, I want it to be a community that's private, that is not impacted by any algorithm, that doesn't have random cat videos showing up alongside a business post. Because essentially, I really wanted to help and support the people who were in my Facebook community, but they were barely seeing any of my posts. And now, tagging everyone in a Facebook group is super annoying, at least for me. At the end of the day, it does come down to personality. In terms of the social media trap, it's very much about just kind of sitting down and asking yourself, am I getting the ROI based on the effort that I'm actually putting in? Because the other piece of this is that if you really enjoy doing things on social media, then of course you continue to do them. So at the end of the day, what I want you to be thinking about when it comes to social media is, are you actually getting an ROI on the time that you're putting into it? If you don't genuinely enjoy being on social media, then what can you do instead? And part of this video is going to help you figure that out. And number three, if you do want to be on social media, awesome, but make sure that you're building a community that you own somewhere else, because you do not own your community or the people who follow you on any social media platform. So before we go into what you can do instead, I also just want to really nail the head on why social media is not working in 2025. And that is to really talk about conversion numbers. So when it comes to social media, the average conversion or the average engagement percentage, right? So let's talk about someone actually seeing and interacting with your post. This is not about them converting into a lead or a customer. This is just them actually seeing what you're putting out there. Average percentage is around 2 to 3% of people who actually follow you, see and engage with whatever it is that you're putting out there. So that's pretty low as far as I'm concerned, versus something like email, where you have the ability to send an email whenever you want. Whereas the average engagement or the average open rate for an email, depending on your industry, can vary, but at least starts at 25 to 35%, right? That's kind of industry averages across the board. But for coaches, course creators, creative entrepreneurs, we're sitting in the 30 to 35% or higher when it comes to those engagements, those open rates. That's a huge difference between social media engagement and email marketing engagement, right? Like, it's a huge difference. Then, if we actually talk about conversion rates, like people actually buying, so the average on a social media post or even a paid ad is around 2 to 3%, which is not bad, right? That's actually a really good conversion rate. However, on your email, it is typically much higher. So you can see that hitting upwards to 8 to 10% conversion. And the real reason for that is simply that you are nurturing your email subscribers in a much higher intent than what you're doing on social media. Now, there's a way for these to work together, of course, but I want you to always just think about energy and time investment, and where are you getting your ROI. And so if you are already doing a ton of stuff on social media, you can 100% repurpose all of the things that you're doing, including video, into your email. It's very, very simple. And I have done a video on how to do this, and it's coming up on your screen right now. So, what can you do instead? Well, you've already heard me talk about email marketing, which is definitely where I lean, but there are other options, and it really just comes down to what makes sense for you. But at the end of the day, if you are running a business, an online business that is making money, you need to own your audience. You need to own the assets in your business. So you just want to think about it from that perspective, is It's really hard to track your ROI on organic social media. Now, of course, on paid, you can absolutely see what that is looking like. But I don't know about you. I don't want to have to run ads to make money in my business, right? I want there to be an option. I'm all about options. I want as many options as I possibly can. So it's very much just about thinking through, okay, so if I'm already doing this, how can I make it sustainable and stable? Because that's what email allows you to have is sustainable and stable, right? The two S's. So email marketing, what does that look like and how can you now start to step into that process? Well, this is exactly what I talk about in my daily sales ecosystem. And the email marketing side of things actually goes across all three of the components that make up the daily sales ecosystem. And that is grow, nurture, sell. Grow your audience, nurture your audience, sell to your audience every single day. And I use the word audience, but really I'm talking about subscribers. But there are nuances, right? We definitely have audiences that just aren't within our email marketing. We have an audience on our long form content platform, which could be our blog, our podcast, or our YouTube channel, right? So there's lots of different elements to that, but the very first piece of this is the grow your audience. Now, I've actually broken down the grow, nurture, sell components of the daily sales ecosystem. So you can go and check that out in this video that is coming up on your screen right now. I'll see you there.